Good morning, good day, or good evening. My name is Eli Rowe, and this is the Middle-Aged Witch Podcast. Hello, and welcome, and thank you for being here with me. I want to start today with an email that I got from a witch, and I'm not sure if this witch is cool with me name dropping, so I will keep it anonymous. But there was some really cool information here that I think we could all benefit from. This witch writes, "Dear Eli, I wanted to start by saying thank you for this podcast. I'm so grateful to have come across it. I am currently listening to episodes in order from the beginning, and I have just finished the scripting episode from June 2022. Visualization is something I struggle with, being neurodivergent, and it has taken a long time for me to figure out the method you laid out in this episode. How I wish I found it so much sooner. What I wanted to share is how I use scripting to reconcile my struggle with using baneful magic as an energy practitioner. I am a Reiki practitioner, so I work daily with healing energy. However, that does not mean I don't come across harmful energy as well. Reconciling the use of baneful magic while also being a conduit for healing energy is tough to do. My husband and I are in a situation where we must maintain a working relationship with our business landlords, who are manipulative and opportunistic by nature. In the past year, we have encountered issues with them abusing the relationship to their financial advantage and leaving us in a place where we have been on the precipice of losing our life's work. It has been a struggle to find a way to use my magical practice to protect us and our business while also respecting my devotion to my Reiki practice and its 5 principles. In my binding rituals, specificity is the key. The most important part that I have developed is when asking for the negative energy to return to its source, I also ask that it transmute to an opportunity for the recipient to self-reflect on their own choices and actions that have brought upon the negative circumstances in the situation. I also ask for that action to turn into a practice of healing in perpetuity. The reason I have reconciled this as an acceptable way to perform bindings in my practice is because I have done quite a bit of deep shadow work and continue to do so. In this work, I have discovered that the deepest pain I have experienced is sitting in my own shit, not literally, and taking accountability for my own choices and actions that brought me to some of my worst circumstances. I understand having enemies and wanting to hurt those that have hurt me, but I also know that hurt people are the ones who hurt people. My shadow work has shown me that I have been a victim and a perpetrator at times, and sitting in the pain of that realization, I came out a better person because I asked for my own practice of healing in perpetuity, which is what brought me to Reiki in the first place. I have been able to let go of some deep wounds that were the source of my own negativity and harmful behaviors. By making this specific request in my bindings, I am asking for a better person to come out of the result, instead of more hurt in the person that will go on to harm others. If you really want a person to feel deep pain for a long time, wish them to heal, because that journey is the most painful one to take. And just because someone finds healing, this does not mean that they can come back into my life. I just know that I have not contributed to any further hurt by them. And the results have been encouraging. The husband half of our landlords has admitted to actions that were harmful to us and has been far more cooperative in our relationship. He has also tempered the attitude and actions of his wife, who has also behaved much better than when I started binding. I do freely admit as well that there are people and entities that are truly evil and harmful to one and all, but I also know that they are rare, thankfully. I believe that there are situations where strong, baneful magic is necessary, and I have had situations in my life where it was warranted, but I have chosen to let the universe take the wheel in those cases. I believe in my heart that what most people need is to find their path to healing, and if I can use my abilities to direct that path as much as possible, I want to do just that. Again, Thank you so much for the podcast. It has really honed both my magic and my Reiki practices, and I learn so much with every episode. Thank you for being a part of my day. Well, witches, that was humbling. And there are so many layers to the method that this witch lays out, and I definitely respect the hell out of it. So I just thought it would be nice to share that message because I get a lot of emails from witches who struggle ethically with performing what we call baneful magic, but this is a really great lens through which to view that practice. Rather than using bindings as an act of revenge, although that is sometimes the answer and can be completely valid, this method transmutes it to an opportunity for growth and healing for the target, while not sparing the target from the consequences of their actions, as well as, protecting the witch from further harm from that party. So thank you so much to that witch for the advice. And now on to the meat of the show. We are here today to talk about storm magic. So here we go. First, I want to clarify what storm magic is, or at least what it is to me. For me, the purpose of storm magic is to use the natural energy of a storm, the power of nature itself, to support my spell work. In much the same way that we can use the power of a full moon or of an eclipse or a retrograde, we can use the power of a storm to support our own magical intentions and our spell work. If I know that a significant weather event is coming soon, I might time my spell work to coincide with it. Anyone who has been outside during any kind of storm knows what that feeling is, the change in the atmospheric pressure and the electrical charge in the air, the wind whipping up, those first lashings of rain. And the actual work itself that we do doesn't have to be super organized, which is good because it's difficult to be organized while you're standing outside in a weather event. But simply shouting the spell into the wind and inviting the elements to participate in the work, this is going to be every bit as effective and oftentimes more effective than, even a very organized and well-planned ritual that's performed indoors. A storm, especially an electrical storm, is already supercharged, and it's going to lend that potency to our spell work. But we do have to be safe. So please consider this a disclaimer. Don't go running headlong into a tornado or a blizzard or a lightning bolt and, getting your ass nuked. Please remember that safety always comes first. But with that said, let's consider how we can use storms in our practices in some very specific ways. First, we can use a storm to charge a spell. We can use a storm to charge a sigil or a talisman or an amulet, taking those things outside and leaving them in the storm to receive all of that energy. We can use the energy of a storm to release our own spell into the universe. We can use the energy of a spell to receive psychic visions and messages. Which brings me to another way to use storms in witchcraft, which is scrying, divination. We can scry for messages, within the storm clouds, in the shapes of the lightning bolts, and even in the sounds of the thunder and the rain. We can hear messages in all of that. Another way to use storms in the craft is to pull that storm energy directly into the body, similar to the way that we would perform grounding and receiving that energy from the earth itself. And I actually found a post from a few years ago on Tumblr that explains the process of this really well. Nature has a smorgasbord of energies to choose from. It flows within the ground, travels through the heat of the sun, and is found rumbling in the heart of storms. While energy can be pulled through walls and ceilings, so you could do it inside, There is no feeling like standing out in a storm and drawing its energy into you. Park shelters, gazebos, verandas, and balconies are the best because you still feel exposed to the storm while minimizing the danger. Once you've got your place, it's time to draw energy from the storm. To start, you should first visualize the storm's wild and chaotic energy. If there is thunder and lightning, try to feel the tension and electricity in the air. Breathe it in. It should taste like ozone. If you need to close your eyes to visualize, you're of course more than welcome. Now, grasp a tendril of the storm's energy and pull it towards you. Feel its turbulent energy entering you and merging with your own energy. The best way to describe how you feel after drawing in energy from a storm is electrified. The hair on your arms stands up, and you feel like you need to throw yourself out into the storm so that you can dance and sing under its majesty. Typically, people use their feet and hands to absorb the energy. However, any area of your body is capable of taking energy in, and you should use this to your benefit. I thought that was it painted such a clear picture. I really liked that. And weather witches, they use weather in all its forms, not just storms. So I don't want to imply that crazy storms are the only way to use weather in our practices, but they're just so cool. It's so easy to connect with this kind of energy and make something great with it. Yes, of course, storms are unpredictable, obviously, so we do need to be at least a little bit prepared ahead of time for different eventualities. The storm that you're expecting may arrive earlier or later than predicted. The storm may be more or less powerful than expected. It may not hit anywhere near where it's forecasted to. Like, there are a lot of unknowns when it comes to working with storms. So we do need to be flexible. We need to be ready to move when lightning strikes. But it is important to stay nimble when working with weather events, any kind of weather events. Watch the forecasts in your area, put together a rough plan, and please make sure, for the love of God, that you stay safe. We tend to see a lot of advice with regard to storm magic that trends toward baneful magic or curses or hexes. And while that is an excellent way to use this kind of power, and we are going to talk about a specific spell that is baneful, it's not the only way, not by a long shot. Storms are strong and they are chaotic and therefore do lend themselves well to that kind of work. But we have to remember that storms have no motives. They are powerful and they are unpredictable, but they aren't negative or deliberately harmful. They are completely neutral. So we can use that power to enact beneficial results too. Health spells, money magic, spells for luck, success, love. The sky is really the limit. In fact, the only kind of magic that I can think of off the top of my head that would probably not mesh well with storms is peace and tranquility work. Otherwise, I say go for it. I did want to drop one specific spell though, and this is the baneful spell that I said, so use it wisely. But there's an old folk spell to torment one's enemies that basically boils down to drawing a face onto, a gourd or a pumpkin or a coconut to represent the person that you're targeting. This is, essentially creating an effigy, which, like a form of a puppet, and then tie it to a tree branch just before a really big storm is set to hit, and then allow the rain and the wind, hail, to just batter the hell out of it. And the purpose of this spell is to cause chaos and confusion in the target's life. Folk magic is not all sunshines and daisies, and it's one of the reasons that I love it. But that is my take on storm magic. Thank you very much for being with me today. Please have a lovely weekend and a fantastic new moon in Pisces this Sunday. My name is Eli Rowe, and this has been the Middle-Aged Witch Podcast. May our troubles be less and our blessings be more, and nothing but happiness come through our door. The information presented is the author's opinion and does not constitute any health or medical advice. The content of this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any condition or disease. Please seek advice from your healthcare provider for your personal health concerns.